everyone, and welcome to the Fireside Chat with SheLeadsTech. We're so happy to have you here today. My name is Jo Stewart-Rattray, and I'm the Regional Ambassador in Oceania for ISACA. And in my day job, I'm a Chief Information Security Officer for one of the largest in-home hospital care providers in Australia. You can tell I'm not from here. And before I go any further, I actually live and work in the beautiful Clear Valley in South Australia, which is one of the premium wine growing regions. And it is tradition in our country to acknowledge the country on which we are coming to you from. So I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians and owners of the land of the Ngadjuri people in the mid-north of South Australia. And I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to my two amazing colleagues and friends who I've known for quite some years, I have to say, and fellow inductees into the ISACA Hall of Fame. I was inducted in 2023, and Debbie Liu, I believe, was inducted in 2024.
Oh, yes, that's right. Hello.
Okay, I'll throw to you, Debbie, to introduce yourself.
Yes, and Jo, I hear you're going through a heat wave. What's the temperature like over there?
Well, it's quite cool today. It's in the high 80s, but we've had 11 days of 117 degrees, and
oh my God,
absolutely no rain since the beginning of November. So we're in pre-drought conditions here.
Yes, I'm in Los Angeles, and of course, I'm looking out in my backyard. It's sunny, beautiful, mid-70s. I hope both of you can come out and visit me in Los Angeles and enjoy the lovely weather. As Jo says, I'm Debbie Liu. I was inducted in the ISACA Hall of Fame in 2024. I'm currently Senior Vice President and Chief Audit Executive of Kaiser Permanente, which is the largest nonprofit healthcare system integrated care model in the U.S. We are about 120 billion. Over about 250,000 employees. And I really love my job as Chief Audit Executive, especially with my technology background. I've been really advancing the department with the use of Gen AI, right? So I'd love to share that story sometime here or in the future. But, one of the things that we're here to do today is to welcome our new Hall of Famer, Gail. So I'll have Gail introduce herself.
Thank you so much, Debbie. I'm just thrilled to be here. I am coming to you from Denver, Colorado. It is in the upper 60s here, which is unusual for us for February because we're still in winter. It's been unseasonably warm and very, very dry also, Jo. So we've been experiencing that kind of drought. I have been a part of ISACA for a very, very long time, but just recently, I was the CISO for F5, which is a technology company, and then I retired in March of 2024. So not that long ago, just almost 2 years ago, but in October, I decided to go back to work. And so now I'm the CIO for Teradata. Teradata is also a technology company based out of San Diego. So I do get down to San Diego every once in a while. I know that's a little further south from you, Debbie, but
It's that you mentioned San Diego. It's a city that I've never actually been to, and I would love to. So maybe we should have a SheLeadsTech event in San Diego.
Yeah. Hey, we've all mentioned that we volunteer for ISACA. I'm just wondering, what year did you start volunteering for ISACA? I wonder who's volunteered for the longest.
Oh my God.
2001. Wow, you're close. Okay, how about you, Gail? When did you volunteer?
Oh, let's just take this with a grain of salt because I think I was the president of the Denver chapter in the mid-90s.
Okay, so I beat you guys. I think I started volunteering in 1989 with the Toronto chapter.
Yes.
And moved to Los Angeles. I was just a staff auditor at that time.
And it was now. EDPAA?
Yes. And it was the Toronto chapter IA president. He got me to volunteer with the IA chapter. And I thought, well, I'm an IT auditor. I should volunteer for ISACA. So I reached out to them, and that's how I got involved with the Toronto chapter as well.
Fun, isn't it? I joined because I wanted to do my CISA, or we call it CISA here. And so that was in 2000. And then somebody said to me, why don't you look to join the local chapter board? And I went, no, I haven't got enough experience yet for that, blah, blah, blah. Don't know ISACA well enough. Well, come that Christmas, we were invited to, I was invited along to a board lunch, and they had said to me, they'd asked me if I would be a co-opted member of the board because they were short a position. So when I got there, the board was already at this lunch, and they were already, sitting around talking, and I thought, gee, I must be late. And they said, oh, no, you're not late, Jo. It's just we've been making some decisions as to where we go next. And we thought that we should let you know that unanimously we've decided you're the vice president of the chapter. That was my introduction. Was let's make me vice president immediately.
Yeah.
So when I moved to Los Angeles, they made me vice president of the chapter as well. They said, oh, you came from Toronto. You just won the K. Wayne Snipes Award. We need your help in Los Angeles. So they made me vice president of programs.
Yeah, when I was president of the Denver chapter, that was the year we changed the name from EDPAA to the Information Systems Audit and Control Association, which is the long name for ISACA, which I think that they've actually dropped over the years because it was way too long. But I remember right at our I think, last chapter meeting, where I was president the following year, I was the ex-president or whatever previous president that was on the board as well. But we gave out T-shirts with the same name, and my husband still has a T-shirt.
Oh.
And so he found it the other day, and he took a snapshot picture of it with the new name on it from
That's way back.
I think it was 1994, 1995. I don't remember exactly, but it was in that year.
Yeah, I think my CISA certification actually says EDPAA, the original.
Yeah, I know for it. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God. 93.
I was actually on the International Board of Directors, I reckon it was 2009, 2010, when they changed the name from the Information Systems Audit and Control Association, which really didn't roll off the tongue easily, to ISACA, thank goodness, right?
Uh-huh.
But I think before we go any further, because you and I, we three could chat until dusk. So I'd just like to officially welcome Gail into, hasn't officially happened yet, but we're welcoming her into the ISACA Hall of Fame. And in May, there'll be the awards ceremony at the conference in Las Vegas where you'll be actually formally inducted. And Gail, congratulations. You've done some amazing work over the years and for such a long time as well. So both Debbie and I would like to congratulate you. We don't want to put any pressure on you, Gail, but we are both also Eugene Frank Founders Award winners. So we're hoping we have... At the moment, there was only one male, and that kind of interesting, right?
It is, yes. But so excited to celebrate you, Gail. I mean, you don't get any special jacket, but I'm sure you have plenty of stories and battle scars and laughs to prove you've earned it. Because I know Jo and we've done so much over the years, and we were. Let's see, Jo mentioned being on the board when was it again?
Well, I've had two stints on the board. The first one was 2009, 10. And then I went back again in 2011 or 2012 until 2018. So 7 years.
I think I did 2014, 2015, 2016, around that time. And Gail, I know you have too. So that's been fantastic experience as well.
Well, thank you, ladies, both. I was honestly super surprised. I had no idea I had even been nominated until I received the notification, and it's just really an honor, to be recognized. I want to say, Jo, we first met probably maybe in 2014 or 20. We were at a conference, if you remember, the CAX conference is my.
I reckon it was CAX, and I reckon it was in Las Vegas, the place we all love to hate.
It was somewhere in the States, and they had a special CISO track.
That's right. That's how we met, because we were at work.
Only 2 or 3 of us ladies that were part of that track. And so we got to know each other. And we sat down, and it was, you were like, we need to gather women together. And that was the start of trying to form SheLeads.
That's right.
And then I breakfasts as well. So remember they had these sheep breakfasts at the conference? I remember
that was after we actually got SheLeadsTech to be a thing. But it was, as soon as after Gail and I had that discussion, I was on the board, and I was starting to really agitate, saying, you keep talking about you want to grow the membership, you want more female members. Well, the only way we're going to do it is to give them something that they want. And so the very first thing that happened was in a boardroom in Brussels, Belgium in June 2016. They were giving out the board portfolios, and I was thinking, oh, gee, I don't have a portfolio this year. Ordinary board member. Nice. And then the then Chief Knowledge Officer said, we have a new portfolio and we're giving that to Joe Stewart-Rattray. Oh, great. Here we go. And it's the Women's Initiative. 3 words. That's all we had, the Women's Initiative, and nothing else. So fortunately, there was an amazing woman on staff side. And so she and I started talking. The first thing she said to me is, do you know anybody else, like a champion within the women of ISACA, who would be great to join with us and look to get an advisory board together? And I said, Gail Coury. And so the next thing I knew, we were in Washington, D.C. at another conference, at the first CSX conference. And so Gail and Tara and I sat down and worked out what we wanted to do. We'd organised a networking event for women. And we were going to run some focus groups to see if what women actually wanted from their professional body of choice. Much to our surprise, the networking event was sold out. There was standing room only out. Yeah, it was. They were out in the corridor, weren't they? And then we thought we'd fill up a couple of focus sessions. No. The rest of the week was full. So we actually had our answer. That women wanted and needed that kind of organisation with an ISACA. And so then years go by, Gail and I keep working together. Gail becomes the chair of the board for One in Tech, which was SheLeadsTech originally, and then One in Tech and now SheLeadsTech. And so it really went from there. And, I had the great fortune of rolling it out in 16 countries with staff colleagues. And we're now, everywhere there's an ISACA chapter, there is the potential for a SheLeadsTech initiative.
Yeah, I don't think we really realized back in the day the actual need. And that first networking event was like people came out of the woodwork. I didn't even know where they all came from. And there were a lot of men also who came to support the women that are in these fields, in the tech field. So, it was really, at first we had a big long name. If you remember, Joe, it was
Connecting Women with when she was the next leaders in technology.
Yes, but we shortened the name over time, and then we actually spent a lot of time. I did with the team at ISACA to form the foundation, which exists today now, tied very, very closely to SheLeadsTech, but really trying to help provide scholarships or to do workforce training for people who are mid-career changing jobs. And that the foundation, I was chair up until the end of December this last year. So about 6.5 years, I chaired the board for the foundation. I'm so proud of the impact that we've been able to make across many countries across the world, as well as in the numerous places in the United States. And it was just really a lot of fun. So,
and Debbie's been really quite active in the space as well. I mean, she has a history where she was, I think, you're not the only woman in your graduating class to be doing computer programming back in the day.
Yeah, I was the only woman that graduated in my technology class in that year. So it's very rare to see women studying IT in those days. But I'm sort of curious. I'd like to get your thoughts on, Joe, you mentioned SheLeadsTech started in 2016. How has SheLeadsTech evolved since then to now? Because I think during those days, from what I recall, it's more about awareness of the underrepresentation of women in technology, forums for women to get support and connected. And then, Gail, you mentioned that it started to expand globally through the chapters, leadership development, mentorships, scholarships, and then part of the ISACA Foundation. Do you think the focus is now have evolved to just developing the next generation of women in digital trust? I mean, I would love to get your thoughts on how it's been evolving over the years.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, Debbie. That's a really good question. And I should have known that you'd pose the hard question.
Because I've been seeing all the changes, and I have women working for me too. So
yeah, I think it has changed. I mean, Gail said when she and I first met in 2014 in that CISO's forum, there were two of us, right? I think there were three. I think there was another woman that we would particularly.
Yeah, but they were less than 5.
That's right, exactly. And you and I got on like a house on fire. So we're seeing an improvement in that. From the very first CSX conference where we had that networking event, we suddenly had, for the first time, over 10% women attending an ISACA conference. Now we're getting up around the 20%, just a bit over 20% usually at our conferences. It's still underrepresentation, right? But it's better than it was. The issue that we face is some things haven't changed, other things have changed at a glacial pace. And so that's part of the issue. But I think some of the incredible things that ISACA have been doing in this space is, I represented ISACA twice at the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women at UNHQ in New York, which is a pretty big deal. We actually ran some sessions about what it means to be a woman in technology. And that actually had women from around the world. We had something like 12 or 13 different nations represented who came and talked to us about that and gave us some great ideas moving forward. And it's that sort of, forward thinking that's helped us to then look at what we can do to promote women and to also educate and to assist our male allies to work with women in the workplace. I mean, there's a fabulous guy I've met twice at 2 different conferences in Europe. He's actually an American who works in I think, the Deep South in the States. Lovely man. And he has come to me and said, first time it was, how can I help the women that work for me? I don't want to seem like it's icky, but I want to be able to promote them because they are fantastic. How do I do that in a polite way? So we had that discussion to start with. And then the next year he came back and said to me, some of the things that you and Sarah Alton, one of our other colleagues on the advisory board, gave me have really worked. So that gave me heart, and I'm hoping to see him in Munich in October and see if we have more news there. So I guess what I'm saying is we have promoted women and we have promoted the fact that we need male allies. We need our cheer squads to be working with us too. Gail, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. Having that support system, whether it be a male or female that you're working for or working with in your career, is something that's super important to help you uplift yourself. I think what SheLeadsTech, I see it as a couple of things. I think for me, I'm in the latter part of my career, done the ups and downs of working with small children and trying to have work-life balance, and then becoming an empty nester, then retiring, then coming back to work. So, I'm in that space where right now I would like to just pay it forward and help uplift other women who are may be struggling in some of those parts of their career and they just need somebody to talk to. They need a little bit of mentoring. And then it's about networking. As women, generally, we're not good at networking, but I learned so much from, the networking I did at SheLeadsTech events that when I was at other events, and I might have been more the minority, I would say, of the attendees, that it felt much more comfortable to be able to network with my male colleagues. So it's all about experience and practice. And, these are all the things I think that can help you in your career in the long run. And I think SheLeadsTech gives you those opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think it was
Okay, I was like, say you mentioned networking, but I think women are really good about, I look at it as the 3 E's: education, experience, and exposure. When you build your personal brand or personal capital, you focus on education and experience, and that's comfortable. But now, how do you get your brand out there? You need exposure, visibility through networking, and that's not as comfortable. And I think SheLeadsTech has always given us opportunities to learn network or opportunities to attend events to network and to receive that coaching and mentoring. When I look at ISACA conferences, I always try to see how many women are speaking. And it's not as many as I would like to see. And I don't know if it's because we're not as comfortable exposing ourselves, or is it a confidence issue? I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can encourage more women who are, like I said, strong personal brand. They've got it. Lots of great education experience. How do you get them to show it and have that confidence?
I think part of that is about confidence. Women are less confident to do that stuff than men. Men are more than happy. We know the 80-20 rule, right? If they can do 20%, well, have a crack at it. We've got to do it be at least at 80% or 90% before we have the right. Oftentimes, I think it's about confidence, and that's what we all do. We in our professional and personal lives, I know, look, as Gail said, to lift other women up. If the crown's a bit slipped, we'll just gently put her crown back properly for her without saying a word, right? That's what women do. But so I think that's what it is. We just need to be encouraging and lift women up, get them to start gently. Don't start in a conference with 1,500 people,
Chapter meeting.
That's hard. The tech event, that you have in your local chapter. I just attended one here in Denver. Oh my gosh, there were over 200 people that came. I was so surprised that this local area could support that many people. But that's an environment exactly where you can practice. You can get that experience. You can become more comfortable about gathering.
And sometimes I walk through it in my head, like I'm walking in the room. I have to have a couple of icebreakers in my pockets, because how do I start a conversation with a stranger? Like, hi, I'm Debbie. The food looks good here. Or interesting topic. How are you using this? How are you applying this topic at work? Like it just feels awkward. So you'll need a few icebreakers, I think, in your pocket. Interesting talk to strangers.
Yeah, interesting that you say that, Deb. It used to be so much easier in the old days when men wore ties, because you'd always go up and say, "Great tie," and that would start or to a woman and say, "Fabulous shoes," or "Great necklace," or "I love your earrings," and that immediately starts it. So
Yeah.
but without ties, we're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
I found my male colleagues really like to talk about their families and their kids, and and that's also a nice one. These would be colleagues that you have, not that you've never met before, but colleagues that you work with every day. And sometimes I know more about their families than even my own family to be.
Now, one thing that I think I recommend when a woman comes to me for coaching is to volunteer. I said, volunteering will accelerate your leadership development. You think of all the things you've done for a chapter. It develops attributes and skills you don't use in your day-to-day, like marketing programs, networking to find speakers, handling the books, right? There's just so many things. And leading a team of people that are not being paid. So imagine you've learned your leadership of leading a committee, they're not paid, and now you're a C-level person in an organization. You know how to lead people, and motivate them through volunteering. And volunteering is a safe space you can develop your leadership skills. No one's doing a performance review of you, right? And a lot of business leaders are community leaders. So you're going to meet a lot of leaders that will be great mentors and coaches for you. So that's the one thing I say. I'm a volunteer junkie. Volunteer.
Now you have just led me on another thought process, and that's, do you have, or have you had, both of you, allies or mentors in your, particularly allies rather than mentors, in your both professional and volunteering life? Debbie, seeing as you started that chain of thought for me, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows Rob Stroud. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He plucked me out of the Los Angeles chapter, really. He came to Los Angeles with a whole bunch of people to work on COVID. And he invited me, and he saw the work I did and the questions are asked, and he thought to himself, Debbie would be good volunteering at the global level. And he encouraged me to be on the COVID steering committee. And I was the first female member on the COVID steering committee. Right. So he was just definitely an ally. And then Mario Dominides, who was the audit committee chair when I was on that committee, he also was a great ally of mine and actually helped me find he invited me to work for Ernst & Young. That's another thing. When you're volunteering, so many great career opportunities come to you because people get to see you perform in a volunteer capacity, right? So you have
Mario is also a 2026 Hall of Fame induction. And he was vice chair of the foundation board for a number of years. He's a great friend. And I think a great.
So he was like an ally and a mentor for both ISACA during my career at Ernst & Young.
See, I really rate Mario. He was one of my also colleagues and very definitely an ally when I first was on the board first time round. It was, I wouldn't be there without him, to be quite honest. And then I went on, and Tony Hayes, who is an Australian, who was board chair for a couple of years. Tony has been my professional mentor and board mentor for, 15 years probably now. And I love it because he's a typical Aussie male in as much as he will give you tough love, right? I'll say, Tony, I need to talk to you about this. This is my issue and this is what I think. And there've been a couple of times when he's just looked at me and said, mate, have you lost it? What? He said, no. Did you just hear what you said? You've actually already got the answer. What are you coming to me for? And it was like, it's a real, and he's not quite as rough as that, but you know what I mean? It's just, it's tough love, and it was what I need. So, I'm going to say thank you to him. Gail, what about you? Obviously Mario was there, but who else?
No, I worked with, I want to say 3 different CEOs of ISACA over the course of my time with not only SheLeadsTech, but starting the foundation itself, and helping stand that up. And that was, it was amazing. I mean, really, from that standpoint. Plus, we had a number of people that were on the foundation board, longtime ISACA folks from around different parts of the world, actually. And one that I've enjoyed knowing was Raghu, who many of you know, and he was on the board for, for I want to say the last 3 or 4 years, maybe, that, we were on together. And I learned so much from him about how to think about things from different parts of the world. And, in my work career, I've had a number of supporters and mentors. And so I think about them all the time. And I feel very, very lucky. And so, but, the old proverb, if you will, is that luck happens when preparedness meets opportunity. And so I think you always have to remember, and I think this is something we women do really well, is we make ourselves prepared.
Yes.
Where is that opportunity comes forward and we can step in and just take it.
I'm going to now ask a question to put you on the spot. Is there a woman who has inspired you, and what impact has she had on your life/career?
I'm going to say, I'm happy to take that question. I spent 13 years at Oracle. Some of that was other companies that got acquired by Oracle. So 13 years working directly at Oracle. And through that time and leading large security teams, I had the opportunity to work with Safra Catz. And, Safra, for a long time, was the CEO of Oracle, co-CEO, then CEO, and now she's the vice chair of the board. So she's still very involved. But what I appreciated from working with her and being in meetings with her and seeing how she conducted herself professionally, but also she was a woman of very few words. And so she could take a very complicated situation and really boil it down to a couple of sentences. And I watched her do that over the years. And that was true inspiration for me.
Great. Debbie, have you got somebody who...
Yes, but of course, the two of you are inspirational to me, of course. But I'd have to say my daughter, because she's a new mother, she's early in her career, and she is thriving and quite successful. And she takes my advice. Like, I'm a mom, and most daughters don't take their mom's advice, but she does take my advice. She does challenge me at times, but I see her as the future generation of women entering into the workforce. And when I think of women entering the technology field compared to when we entered into the technology field, they have so many more advantages than we did, as much such as the SheLeadsTech program, right? So, and of course, I'm always curious, what would I say to a young woman who's just graduating from college? I'd say, don't wait till you're ready, because I think we do that. We're like, I'm not ready to do this yet. I say, go for it. Go for those opportunities. Listen to your inner voice. Value that perspective. I have to admit that I changed so many careers, and I'm still trying to figure out what to do when I grow up. Right? So just go for it. I mean, I'd be curious from the both of you, what advice would you give someone who's graduating from college in technology these days?
I think I'd really ease it. For me, it would be my personal mantra has always been dream big and believe. And that belief has to be in yourself and your own ability. Right. So that's what I would say to, and I do say to young women who are either graduating or are in their first, they're emerging professionals in the workspace. Dream big and believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will either. So you have to have that, and that helps you to build inner confidence, inner strength. And it is, take those opportunities. It can be really hard. Even at my stage, sometimes I think, oh, should I? But you do, right? And so you need to really push yourself sometimes. So dream big and believe. Gail, what about you? What would you say?
I would say, don't be afraid to ask questions. You can get in a room with people and, you're trying to understand something, and, maybe some of the people in the room get it, but you don't. So just, can you explain, this acronym? What exactly does that mean? And especially when you're new and you're young and you have your first job, and, the more you take in, the more you learn. The more you learn, then the more opportunity will come your way. And I think, just don't ever lose that desire to learn. because I think especially in technology, it changes so quickly that we are all constantly learning throughout.
Yeah, that's so true. My late husband used to say, if I haven't learned something in a day, there's something wrong. So there's something you will learn every day. It might be a really small practical thing. Like for me, it's doing things that I've never had to do before, like change a washer in a tap. But so that was a really important thing. So, yeah.
Keep learning.
I think, learning is great. I think that given that we're doing this for International Women's Day, let's just do a quick round of what does International Women's Day mean to you, Debbie?
Well, let's see. International Women's Day is sort of both a celebration and a reminder. It's a reminder. It's first of all a celebration of the progress we've made as women and the allies who help open doors for us. But it's a reminder of the responsibility we have for creating opportunities for others coming down the path. So that celebration and a reminder as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, for me, it is a celebration. We didn't really celebrate International Women's Day when I was younger. I don't think anybody ever heard of it. I don't know when it was established, actually. But, I celebrate the women in my life that I'm grateful for. And the women I'm the most proud of, which happens to be, my daughter. I have one daughter, but I have 3 daughters-in-law. And they're all very, very successful in their career. And every year I love to celebrate them. So,
oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, International Women's Day means a lot to me. I've had the very great privilege for the past 7-8 years of being at the United Nations for International Women's Day as part of the Commission on the Status of Women. And there is nothing quite like walking onto the floor of the General Assembly and seeing 3,500 other women there and some male allies as well from the 193 member states to celebrate women and to work towards the empowerment of women and girls in all their diversity and to actually make a difference by some of that work that we do on particular themes. So that to me is so important. And International Women's Day for that purpose, for that for me is why it's so important. So, and I wear my badge today. That's the International Women's Day badge.
Yeah, about equality. Really, I don't think we want any special favors, and we don't want anybody to give us anything that we don't deserve. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do, and I think we've made progress over the years. I think young women coming into their careers now, it's a lot easier for them. There's a lot more work-life balance, You can have others' rooms when you're nursing. Maybe I never had that, although I got it in one company because after having another child, I was like, you guys have to set aside a room for this because I shouldn't have to do this.
The interesting thing is that in some parts of the world, but we've tried to clear the path a little bit.
And for women, we've made some progress, but we have a lot still to go.
I think the issue is that that's absolutely true in some parts of the world, but in others, we've made almost no progress, and women in technology are just as badly done by as we were initially. So that's the other thing that we need to also recognise and celebrate any move forward in some of those countries. I had the experience of being in an African nation for SheLeadsTech and hearing stories about forced marriage, about a woman running away from an abusive forced marriage at a young age and then being in the care of Save the Children until she could finish her education. So I have heard some heartbreaking stories over the last decade of SheLeadsTech. And so to me, whatever we can do to help women, whether that's just providing a safe space for them to come together and tell their stories and to support one another, then that to me is the embodiment of International Women's Day. Now that was very heavy, so sorry. But I reckon,
but you have a very valid point forward.
Yeah. Well, I'd just like to say thank you, Debbie, for joining me to have a chat with Gail. And Gail, thank you so much for your time and sharing some of your insights with us. Also, I know we're all, even though I won't be there in person, I'm going to be looking forward to seeing the photos and any video footage of your Hall of Fame induction at North America CACs in Las Vegas in May. And all I can wish you is the very best of luck. And Debbie and I will be waiting with bated breath the results of the Eugene Frank Founders Award. And, I've already said to ISACA many times that we should have a special, you get a Hall of Fame badge. You'll have a Frank's Award badge as well. So I would love you to be able to join that august group as well. And that will be announced on that day. You never know until you actually are called upon on that night. And I know for Debbie and I, it was a shock for both of us, but a very welcome shock. And so, Gail, welcome into the Hall of Fame, and look forward to working with you further in the future.
Yes, and I'm excited to see you in Vegas in May, and so excited to celebrate you, your leadership, your impact, and the path that you helped carve for other women. So many. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you.
This has been the best introduction to the Hall of Fame that I could have hoped for. You ladies are wonderful, and I have enjoyed knowing you over the years, and it's just amazing that you are here today and that you have gone through this little discussion. Although it was great fun, we should have a glass of wine.
Have my tea.
We should do a quick round of rapid fire questions for Gail in particular. She is the new inductee. For you, Gail, is it tea or coffee?
Coffee. How about you, Jo? Are you coffee too?
Coffee probably, or in the afternoon peppermint tea. You do?
Okay. I'm tea because I'm Canadian, so I grew up with tea. I rarely drink coffee. I might have one if I really need the caffeine, and it has to be pumped up with a lot of flavor and sugar into it.
What's something that instantly makes you smile?
My grandchildren. I have 10.
I was as same as you from my grandson, and I'm a first-time grandmother. And my grandson is about 5 months old, so love to get any tips from you, but as a first-time grandmother.
Yeah, children are so much fun, aren't they? It's just different than when you were a parent. So, but they delight me all the time.
Well, I'm a dog mother, so you can probably see the boys wandering around behind me. So it's usually something silly that they do, or a puppy or a baby. They're the things that instantly make me smile. I don't know what it is. It's just, yeah, it's cool. One word to describe yourself.
One word. Integrity.
It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard when it's about yourself. Mm-hmm. It's much easier if somebody else were to say, oh, Gail is, whatever. Debbie?
That's what I think.
My team would know this word. It's peacock, because we just did a birds of a feather work social style. So I'm a combination of a peacock and a hawk. And I think my peacock score is 4 and my hawk score is 23. So peacocks are expressive, creative, big ideas, drama. And a hawk is, of course, a driver, results-oriented, keep the end in mind. So I'm that combination. So my team started to call me Peahawk.
Yeah,
That's how they would say.
I had not heard of that.
Yeah. I mean, if I find it, I'll send you the questions so you can. I don't think it's, I'll take 10 minutes to figure out what bird style you are.
Oh, I would love that. Send it, Daddy.
I'll send it to you guys.
Which female character from a TV series or a movie or a book would you switch lives with for a day?
I'm gonna I'm going to say, this is very strange, but I'm going to say Meryl Streep in The Delaware's Prada.
Oh, okay.
One day.
One day.
One day to be ruthless.
Oh, that's cool. I like it. That's really good. Debbie, have you got anybody in mind?
To tell you the truth, I can't think of anyone, but honestly, I think I'll go back to choosing my daughter again because she's a new mother, early in career, already doing incredibly well. I think seeing the world through her eyes, even for a day, would be a great reminder as to why we create supportive and inclusive workplace that really matters for people who are early in their careers, people graduating from school, for these young women. I think, to see the world from their eyes, I think would be what I think I really would choose and switch lives with for a day.
And I'm going to go right out there and say, somebody who's living, I would like to swap for a day with Lady Fiona Kavanagh, who is the wife of, I think, the 8th Earl of Kavanagh, who owns Highclere Castle, which is where Downton Abbey was filmed. I would love to know what it's like to actually live and in something, in a house like that. So, and I know that she does so much work to actually promote and keep the lights on literally at Highclere. So and she loves dogs. So what with her? I'm not sure that my little house called Little Fleet House would be great for her, but I'd love to swap for a day. And okay, now this is a really hard one, and it's our last one. If you could invite any 3 women, past or present, to a dinner conversation, who would they be?
This is a hard one. There are so many women that I admire. So I would probably start with Michelle Obama. One woman. I wonder how she'd get along with Oprah.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Very.
As a second choice, and I have to think on the third one, Joe. So maybe circle back with.
And I problem because I'm struggling too. Debbie.
You know what? I agree with Gail. I would pick Michelle Obama as well. For her authenticity and ability to lead with purpose on the global stage. I really admire Michelle Obama for that. The second person I thought about was Melinda Gates. Right?
Oh.
Yeah. It's because she's very impactful and she's committed to expanding opportunities for women. She's done a lot of work in that area. So she's someone who's inspirational that I'd love to have dinner with. And of course, I'm going to go back to my daughter because more for the perspective of the next generation. I think that would be meaningful, as inspiring conversations across these 3 generations. That's the way I would look at it.
Wow. Oh, who would I have dinner with? That's a really hard. I mean, I'd like to have dinner with the 2 of you. I've had dinner with each of you individually, but not together. I actually think that would be a great dinner. And
let's have a North American Tax Conference in Vegas.
I can't quite make it, but if you were both coming to Munich.
We got to find a way to get to Australia, right, Gail?
That would be fantastic. Gail and I, actually, last time we met in person was in Sydney, so that would be great. So I think I'd love to have you 2, and I would throw Michelle Obama into that mix as well. Poor woman with the 3 of us. But anyway, but I would just like to hear some of her perspective, because she does always surprise me with some of the things that she says. And I would throw into the mix somebody different, Dame Judi Dench as well, because she has lived an incredible life. She's in her 90s now. She has failing eyesight, but she's still out there. She's still actually taking on parts in cameos in films and stuff. So she's somebody else I would just like to talk to for the incredible life that she's lived. And I think there would be an interesting difference between she and Michelle Obama. I think we could have fun.
And I would love to speak with her as well. I think, and Melinda Gates also, there's so many great women. And then part of me is like, I would love to have the late Queen Elizabeth. You know, it'd be interesting to hear she was head of state for all those years. And I believe she was just like 23 or 21 or something when she became the Queen of England. And, you know,
She was 26. So she was
very young to have all of that responsibility and then to remain as the Queen of England and the head of state for all those years, and how many prime ministers she went through, and that be how much. Yeah, it would be an extraordinary conversation. Would be.
So too. Oh, how wonderful.